Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of First and Last. And this week, it is only me, Josh, and only Joe. Hello, Joe.
Hey. I thought you were going to say hello for me. Here's Joe. He says hi.
And this is Joe. Hello. It's only me pretending. The whole episode's me not letting you talk, but me pretending that you're here.
Like you're the only one left, but you just didn't want it to seem like you were alone, so you just pretended it was me and you.
If everybody quits the podcast, and I'm still around, you know, like I didn't die in the same bus crash or something, then I'm going to just keep going on and be like, what do you think, Jimmy? Cool. Good answer. Man, we should really turn your mic on sometime. Do stuff like that.
Are you going to pan this episode since there's just two of us, like one side, left side, the other guy, right side?
It sounds like awful listening.
No, it just sounds like you're listening to this if you're wearing headphones, it sounds like you're listening to this podcast just sitting right between us.
I mean,
we're just talking through you.
It's it's the easiest thing to do in the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, sure, why not?
And then like if you're like a Josh fan, you could just only put in the left earbud and you'll get to hear Josh.
So what you're saying is 90% of the people are only going to listen to what you have to say.
Let me just hear the Joe takes. I don't really care what Josh says.
Yeah, I'm going with the Joe show today. Going with the Joe show. Well, speaking of the Joe show, let's do this correctly. Joe, what is the First and Last show, the podcast that people are listening to? What do we do here?
We take a TV show that has ended in the past, and we watch just the first episode and talk about it, make some predictions. Then we watch the last episode and see what we got right and see how we like the show. We just take out the middle. We're not about it. You know, like what my least favorite Jimmy Eat World song is?
The middle?
It's Big Casino.
Ah. Chase This Light? Are we just naming... Bleed American. I'm just naming albums.
Not even songs.
Not even
just
songs. Albums. How dare you? All right then. Well, Joe, since Jimmy's gone because he's somewhere.
Yeah.
And Claire is gone because she is also somewhere.
They're both at places.
They're probably hanging out together.
Wouldn't that be weird?
Being weird. That'd be fun.
They're starting up a separate podcast, or they're just like watching a couple episodes of a TV show, like not the first or last,
just randoms.
Yeah.
We roll a dice, we times it by 2, and that's the episode that we watch of Frasier. Great podcast.
Cool idea, guys.
Well, we talked about this. We came up with a show to watch today, and it's one that I feel like most people have never heard of, because I had never heard of it until a couple days ago. Or like a day ago.
I'd never heard of it until you mentioned it.
Right.
15 minutes ago.
But I think it's the perfect show for me and you to watch.
Okay.
It is called Aliens in America.
Cool.
Yeah. And the reason why it's perfect, well, number one, I want to preface this by is I actually started watching some Community recently.
Okay.
I'm like episode 10 in season 1. So.
Sure.
But I'm like, all right, I'll give this a shot. I watched some Elliptical I watched some Community while I'm elliptical.
You went to the community college to watch someone on an elliptical.
Yeah. You thought I was watching the Joel McHale show? No.
They've asked you to leave, but you're like, what? It's fine. She's just on an elliptical. It's not weird.
Oh, why did it have to go there?
It's not like she's jogging.
I'm like, you can do it.
Just very supportive.
It's okay.
You can turn it up to 10. It seems like the intensity's pretty low.
I ask her my random crossword questions. What's a 4-letter word for love? Not weird at all. Well, Joe, the reason why this show has relations to Community and why I started watching this. Number one, I watched a YouTube video by this fantastic YouTuber named Drew Gooden. I like him. Maybe I'll link that into the description just because we talked about it. Because I think it's a video worth watching if you like either Community or Arrested Development. And he made a video about how those two shows both like got canceled and you're just throwing your phone on the ground. How those two shows both got canceled and then they came back for like a second run. And while Arrested Development hasn't necessarily technically failed its second run, you know, it's kind of like I feel like most people don't really care as much.
Right.
And he was doing a show like who failed the best like the second time kind of thing. Sort of. I don't know. It was a great video. I remember everything about it. But he mentioned a thing with Community is that Community was a show run by Dan Harmon.
Mm-hmm.
We've gone through this in the past.
Yeah.
And he got fired from the show.
Right.
And then 2 other people picked the show up. And those people were, what are their names, Joe?
David Grorasio and Moses Port.
Yes. And they are the showrunners originally from Just Shoot Me.
Yeah, they've done a few shows, but their big hit was Just Shoot Me.
Their big hit, it was Just Shoot Me, David Spade, which is a good show, I think.
I remember liking it.
I do too. We should do that one day.
Okay.
So they had a show that everyone liked and was a big hit, but they also had a different show. And according to the YouTube video that I watched, this show was like their show that they had just before they got picked up to like take Community's reins.
Okay, yeah.
And it was this show, Aliens in America. And it only went for 1 season from 2007 to 2008.
Okay.
It only had 18 episodes, and apparently it was really, really bad.
What channel was it on?
CW.
All right.
And when I asked you about that, you looked up one thing about this show, and what was that one thing?
Well, I just did a Google for Aliens in America, and like the first 2 things are IMDb and Wikipedia, because of course. But then the number 3 was a list from Complex.com that was the 50 most racist TV shows ever. Yeah, I skimmed the list. Do you want me to tell you what number 1 was?
Yeah.
Fox News.
What?
Like the rest of them are just TV shows, and then number 1 is Fox News.
So, I mean, I would have thought, like, yeah, it would have been just TV shows. I guess when you say TV, I don't think of, like, news.
Yeah.
When you say TV shows.
Yeah, I mean, when I was skimming the list, definitely wasn't like a serious list. Like, it was mostly joking. Like, Martin was on there because it was just like whatever. Here's one for like you guys, or let's just.
What do you mean, you guys? No, I mean, I guess you could see it like if it, because I mean, you could just say like an all-white comedy or an all-black comedy are
Right.
inherently racist in a way,
Right.
since it's just like one-sided. There's no diversity within the cast.
Mm-hmm.
Martin was a good show though, by the way. I watched.
It mentioned something about whiteface, like in the Martin
I
description.
don't remember. I mean, I was like 12 when Martin was on.
Yeah.
I just remember Martin. That's all I remember. It's a good show. I
Yep.
recommend Martin. If anybody late at night can't sleep, pop on some Martin. Martin Lawrence. I mean, he was in Bad Boys with Will Smith.
He was also in Bad Boys 2.
With Will Smith.
And I think Bad Boys 3.
With Will Smith. I have no idea.
I think I've only seen Bad Boys 2.
I originally watched Bad Boys like over like a Christmas break when it had just kind of come out.
Yeah.
And I was at my uncle's house in Illinois.
Yeah.
Like just kind of in the room, and I feel like even as a little kid, like a 12-year-old, I was like, this is not an okay movie for me to be watching like with the adults. Like it was just like, this is kind of inappropriate. Tia Carrera, who was it? Tia Leone. That was the girl in it.
Okay.
I was like, this is a little too sexual. I'm 12.
Martin Lawrence like has this thing. Well, like, you know, if you're a 12-year-old fan of Martin Lawrence, the only way you can get him is like he's only either a cop or a thief in like a lot of his comedies.
Sure.
Like Blue Streak. Well, no, Blue Streak's the interesting one because in that one he's a cop, or he's a thief posing as a cop.
Double acting.
Yeah. But yeah, and the other ones is like Nothing Left to Lose. He's a thief, and Bad Boys. He's a cop. I forget what other ones.
But they are pretty unconventional cops, if you will.
Yeah, I guess.
What's better, Bad Boys or Lethal Weapon?
They both have Martin Lawrence.
No, I didn't say that. I never said that. They're just both cop movies. I feel like
the top 50 most racist podcasts.
What? I don't even know why we're not in that.
But we would be honored to make any list.
Yeah, put us on a list, guys. Except for the one the governments make. That's the only list we don't want to be on.
Shut us
down. But so
you've never seen this, right?
I've never seen the show, but like kind of via I know like the very small premise of it.
I mean, I only know a little bit of it just because of seeing the promotional photo for it when I Googled it.
Mm-hmm.
But if I hadn't seen that photo, which it's like looks like an Indian boy like holding a picture of a family.
A white family.
Yeah,
You gotta,
like a conventional white.
We're watching
family.
a racist TV show. You gotta.
But like, if I had just known, like when you first said aliens in America, I thought it was about like outer space aliens like living in America like in disguise.
Like a Third Rock from the Sun type
yeah.
scenario.
I guess I'm just describing Third Rock from the Sun.
You just like Third Rock from the Sun.
That's what happened when Guaracio and Port went to go give the pitch to like, all right, I got this show called Aliens in America. We just got aliens living in America. And they're like, wait, you mean Third Rock from the Sun? And they're like, no, it's a little Indian kid.
No, aliens like illegal aliens.
They just got caught like and had to like just backtrack, and there's like, oh, I guess we're making this other show now.
When I was growing up, I think I was really confused about the term aliens, like pertaining to like humans that like just weren't from that country.
Yeah,
because I always was like, how many fucking aliens are around? This is crazy.
This is just like, a known thing.
This is, everyone just knows. And I was like, oh, you just mean like he's from Africa, or he's from England.
Oh,
or
like his documents aren't straightened out. Okay.
Oh yeah, there's a Japanese fella.
Otherwise, he's just a dude. I got it.
Yeah. Okay, got it. Yeah. Oh, so you just mean that Japanese guy came to visit for a little bit, and you're calling him an alien? Got it. Weird. So yeah. So I'll just say what I know. Well, I mean, because whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that white family. They have, I assume they have a daughter and a son. Look, that's what it looked like from the picture.
Yeah.
And it looks like the parents order a foreign exchange student to
order one.
I really think
like
this
it came from a catalog.
I don't know. I don't know that part, but I wouldn't be surprised. They order a foreign exchange student because their idea is, I think that their son is like a bit of like a nerd / loner.
Okay.
And they think that getting a foreign exchange student to live with them and be their son's friend will therefore make their son cool.
That seems like a bad idea.
How does, right? Like just having a foreign exchange student in general, you need like a really like outgoing, like because high school student.
Yeah, because it's going to be hard for the foreign person to like integrate themselves to start.
It's just a lot of work.
Yeah.
You got to be ready for that, and it just already I'm like, bad parents. Come on. Bad parents. Well, Joe, I think number one, you don't get a bet that there'll be brown people in this show.
I guess not. Yeah.
I think there's at least one according to the cover photo.
We were promised a brown.
God. We're just climbing that ranks of racist podcasts, aren't we? Climbing the ranks. Any notable other things you think are gonna happen in this first episode?
Let's say, is like the foreign guy gonna be like creepily in love with like another high school student or something, and like
I just assume that if he's got a sister, the sister's gonna be similar in age to the brother.
Yeah.
And then the foreign guy is gonna be into the sister.
Okay.
Because that's just like, I mean, this show seems like it's going to be terrible, and that seems like a very lazy thing to do.
Yeah. But I mean, it could happen, I guess.
I mean, if she's beautiful. He's like, keep it in the family.
They're not actually related, right?
No,
if it's like a foreign exchange program.
No, the foreign exchange student had to marry the sister. No, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, they probably don't, right? If it's like foreign exchange, they probably like make sure like if you're getting a boy, you have a son and not a daughter because they don't want anything weird going on.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we had obviously a couple of foreign exchange students in high school, but that was a very long time ago, and I don't remember like who had them. Yeah, I don't remember who had the German girl. Like if it was another girl, I think it was. It just doesn't make sense to like, order a German girl to your house and have it be for your son, right?
Yeah.
These foreign exchange programs are getting wacky. Doesn't make any sense.
A mail order program, that's a different thing.
I assume they're not going to be seniors in high school, just because.
That's a bad way to start a TV show, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Because if you wanted to keep going, you want a couple more years.
Yeah.
Sophomore.
Okay. Yeah. Not freshman,
like,
sophomore.
He sucked at being a freshman, and therefore they're going sophomore. But this loser kid can't drive. But this foreign exchange student can.
He's super good at driving.
Well, I mean, he's like 1 year older, but since he's foreign, like, you know, everyone brings him down to that guy's level.
Okay.
That's all I got.
You think he's like good at math or something?
No, he's not Asian.
It's different.
Gotcha. Just trying to make that list.
Oh man.
I don't know. What was this, 2007? I just hope they don't make 9/11 jokes or some bull.
Oh god.
Right?
We just had the anniversary.
Because I think he's like this it looks like a potentially like an Arab foreign exchange student or something like that. Somebody from the Middle East potentially.
Mm-hmm.
That's at least what I believe. So we'll see.
They're just gonna ride with it.
I'm just going with the fact that this show got on that list, so it's gonna be terrible. Like just racist jokes all over the place. We're gonna watch one episode and be like, we can't even watch the last one.
Cannot support this.
We apologize. We're watching this, and you guys don't have to. So, all right. Well, why don't we just do this? We've almost talked longer than the first episode to start. So
Cool.
we're gonna watch the pilot of Aliens in America and really dive down and find out whether or not this is truly one of the most racist shows ever made. Stay tuned for our op-ed.
We're gonna love it. It's
Oh,
gonna be
no.
like our favorite show.
Coming up next. We'll see you after that. Holy shit, we're back from this show.
This show delivered.
Before we get into what it delivered, Joe, let me read you the recap.
Cool.
Justin Tolchek has nearly everything any teenager could want: caring parents, a popular sister, and his own style. However, the one thing that Justin does lack is a social life. His mother, Franny, tries to fix this problem by hosting a foreign student who can perhaps make Justin popular. However, the Tolcheks are in for a very big surprise when the foreigner turns out to be not at all what they expected.
Yeah. That's a problem.
Yeah, that'll get you. You said he was coming from London. So right away, the parents, they like go to his like, Justin goes to his like guidance counselor or whatever, or some guy.
Yeah, let's talk about this setup before we even get to Raja.
Yeah. So he goes to school. It's the beginning, and he thinks everything's going well. He's like really worried that everyone's gonna pick on him and stuff. First, he meets up with the Palladino twins, who were only in the episode for that one bit.
Yeah.
But they asked Justin, and this just pretty much 3 minutes in this show, they asked Justin if he ever sleeps with his sister.
Yeah, because she's hot now.
Because she's hot, and doesn't he sleep with her?
Yeah.
And he's like, no. So
He's like, my sister?
my
you
sister? And you're like, yeah, if she lived in my house. And it was like, wow. So it starts off with incest jokes.
mean? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then Justin is talking to some girl by his locker. I think her name's Amy.
I don't remember.
Red-haired girl.
Yeah.
Who was nice to him.
Uh-huh.
That'll come up later in my predictions.
Same.
And talks to her for a little bit, and they apparently, the seniors make a list of the top 10 bangable girls in the school.
Yeah.
And
Which comes out on the first day of school, I guess. You just make a game time decision, like, all right, you're on.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I guess because I guess I didn't know the freshmen that were coming into my school.
Yeah, right.
When I was
you
a
just like
junior or senior.
the committee just stands at the door and just watches everybody walk in.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, her, not her. Weird. And Justin's sister Claire is number 3.
Respectable.
And apparently Justin himself is number 8.
Which I guess that's like a rag that they do every year, which is, if you're doing that same joke every year, pretty lame. But like, I guess I don't get the joke. Like,
Tradition.
the joke is like, you're so lame, you're a hot chick.
Yeah. You're so lame. I want to bang you and pretend you're a hot chick. Really, those cool high school kids,
Yeah.
when they're selling used cars when they're 40, they're going to be like, that wasn't that funny, I guess.
Yeah, or I guess just like, one of those cool jocks like was like, yeah, what about Justin Tolchuk? And they're like, wait, are you gay? And he's like, oh no, I meant it as totally just a rag. Ha ha ha.
Oh yeah, I'm okay. So then that happens, and that's the catalyst for him to go to the guidance counselor and for some reason his parents to also go there with him.
Yeah, they just kind of skipped over it and got involved.
His mom is like so caring. She's like just intrusive within his life, essentially.
Yeah, she wants him to be cool.
Yeah. And the guidance counselor essentially talks him into saying, like, somebody last year had a foreign exchange student, and he's dope as hell now.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're like, cool, we want one of those.
Yeah, they literally showed her a brochure with like this like tall Swedish blonde guy was the exchange student and made this nerd like class president or something.
Which, cool, I guess. Is it cool to be class president even?
I don't know. It's something, right?
I mean, I guess people know who you are.
Yeah.
And well, I mean, who doesn't know who Justin is? He's number 8 on a list. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
How big is their high school, right?
There's only 7 more bangable chicks than him.
Exactly. That's pretty solid, man. I was never 8 in anything in high school. And so then they order their foreign exchange student. They go to the airport.
Yeah.
And this like blonde Aryan boy walks off.
Yeah.
And his mom makes this face like, if that was him, I'd be like, oh my God, his mom's going to bang this kid.
Yeah. She was making some eyes at a child.
Yeah, she was not making these like, oh, I'm so happy my son has a friend eyes at that. She was making, I'm going to have sex with this foreign exchange student, which was weird.
Yeah.
And then obviously it's not him, fake out. And then the Pakistani boy named Raja is like, are you the Toltecs?
Well, and then they just like blast you with like this like what's supposed to be just like a Middle Eastern chant, like a oh la 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 la.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like
Oh yeah, it blares. They did it twice. They did it that time, and they did it later when he was like in the room while Raja was praying.
Yeah.
And they did it again when his mom had like a look of pure fear on her face.
Yeah.
And it's like a white woman only in frame, pure fear, and all you hear is la 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 la. And it's like, Jesus, this is not okay.
It was from that moment. That's when like the show just really took off. Like, oh my God,
Took off.
like yeah, they're just horrified at like this like foreign brown kid that's just like, oh hey, are you my family? What's going on?
Hello, I'm like the nicest human in the entire world.
Yeah. And then like the kid's like narrator voiceover just said, and I thought my life couldn't get any worse.
Nope, I wrote it down. He said, and I quote, and all they have done at this point is that brown kid walked in and said, are you the family I'm staying with? And that is all that has happened. And he said, it seems impossible, but somehow my life just got worse. I was like,
Oh my
are
God.
you kidding me?
That was like the zinger before the commercial break.
Yeah, it was.
Like you're supposed to like lull and then like be like, oh, I can't wait to see more of this
man,
show.
that's crazy. Honey, do we need Tide Pods? Yeah. Are the kids eating all the Tide Pods yet? Do we need more?
Are these expired? They taste kind of sour.
Oh, Jesus. And so then first day, like he comes back, and the next day they make him go to bed at like, they go to bed, Raja. And he's like, it's 6:30, and she's like, I'm your mom here, and I'm telling you to go
Yeah,
to
she
bed,
immediately sends him to bed.
just to get him away.
Yeah.
And then the next morning they say that Justin's sick, he can't go to school, so they send Raja to school alone.
Uh-huh.
And then they make terrorism jokes
Yeah.
at school.
Well, I mean, they like make terrorist reference after he like goes to bed. They're just like the mom says something about like, what if he's a terrorist? Like they always send him as students or something.
Oh yeah, they can send him as students or something like that.
And then, well, like, and then before she sends him to school, like in the morning, they're like eating breakfast, and she's like eating bacon and like smiling at him,
Oh yeah.
like just outright antagonizing him.
But luckily, he's such a nice boy. He like is like, hello.
Yeah, he's like, let me clear your plate.
He's like, oh, can I help you? Because I'm not a horrible human. He's clearly the hero in this show. And then he goes to school, and then the teacher is like, everyone tell you other feelings about how you feel about this kid being in our class. And one girl was like, I don't like that your people broke like our buildings or something like that.
Yeah, she's like, your people, like, I think she specifically said 9/11, right? Or did she not say
I don't think
outright 9/11?
I don't know. I don't think she
Did she
said
just say like his people like took down the buildings?
that. Yeah, somewhat stupid
Okay.
like that.
Yeah. And then the teacher says, "Is anyone else mad at Raja?" And like half the
everybody.
like most of the class raises their hand.
Oh god. I literally went, they went there. That's what I wrote. I was like, oh my God, they went there.
That's, yeah. I mean, that's kind of the thing that I realized about this episode. They present Raja as like a very polite kid, very nice kid, and everyone else around him is just a horrible human.
And the only other person, and I mean, even Justin was shitty right away.
Yeah.
And immediately my life got terrible. But at least at the end, he was like, no, I want him to stay. He's great.
Yeah. But like this, like, you know, this show showed up on like the racist list or whatever, but like, I'm offended by this show, but like I'm offended for white people. Like it just makes like white people look so bad. And like it's just like the moral is just like white people are fucking racist. I feel like I get the vibe that the show is based in Medora, Wisconsin, which is not a real place.
Oh, it's not?
No, I
Okay.
looked it up. But like I get the vibe that this is written by like some just like liberal coastal elites that are just like, oh man, people in the Midwest are so racist. Because it's just like cartoon racism. Like this is 2007.
It really is cartoon racism.
Like I
though.
was in high school during 9/11 and people weren't this racist.
No, not at all. No, it was, oh God, this fucking show. Part of me wrote down, yeah, it was like, maybe this is like I mean, I think they laid it on a little too thick.
Mm-hmm.
Like 500% times too thick. But I was like, maybe they're just going super, super hard
Yeah,
so they can like turn it around and like this,
because they have
whole-
somewhere to go.
and this whole show is hopefully a lesson.
Maybe.
Like, that's the only thing I can hope. The only thing I can hope is that hopefully this whole show is just like hey, stop being like this.
It makes white people look horrible.
Right. And I mean, obviously some white people are like this.
Sure.
But like, oh man. You know. Not nearly every single person in an entire school.
Yeah, it presents it as like this is what every white person thinks. They're just not saying it, and they're all like, it's not even like we're kind of uncomfortable with your culture. It's like they're antagonizing him, eating bacon in front of him, like
right. And like, and it's funny because the only person that immediately like doesn't care about him being a brown person from Pakistan is his dad, and it doesn't even seem doesn't have anything to do with the fact that he like doesn't care that he's Muslim. It's that he's like, I'm making money from this kid being here.
Yeah.
And he's like washing dishes and being a nice kid. So he like, I mean, he's not like, he doesn't care. It doesn't seem like he cares at all, but he's just like so excited to just like be making money and like having like a nice kid around.
Yeah. And like he was like wiping the floors or something, and he's like, good job, Raja.
Yeah.
Like,
So the only person that was like positive the whole time was the dad. But it was immediately because he was like, we get $500 a month. They did have llamas in their backyard.
Yeah, I didn't know what that was about.
Oh no, alpacas.
Oh yeah.
But that was fun when they were playing like soccer in the backyard with the alpacas. Like when they're doing the montage of like, Justin likes Raja now.
Yeah, like they understand each other.
Yeah, they understand each other. That little thing when they're just kicking the ball back and forth with like dodging alpacas. I was like, that's pretty funny. That was kind of funny. Yeah, it was definitely some shock humor, to say the least.
But and I feel like it's not even like this is a little harsh for 2018. I feel like in 2007, like that would have been pretty shocking at that time too.
Oh yeah, guaranteed. There's no possible way that this pilot could be aired this year. No possible way. Just not with the climate of the world,
Sure.
of America, essentially. People being like, and I mean, you know, whatever. It's just not. It just wasn't even that funny. Like, you know, that's the thing. It was just like, it was shocky, and then it was like, whatever. You're not being funny.
Like there's like you know, we were talking about Community earlier. There's like racist humor in Community where like Pierce is a curmudgeonly old man and he's racist, and like people just sort of like, you know. I mean, it's kind of laughed off a little bit, and other times it's kind of like treated seriously, but like it's presented in a way that like, oh, he's a curmudgeonly old man, he is ignorant. But like I feel like in this, it was just like
Everybody was that person.
Yeah, everybody is like this. White people hate brown people.
It didn't put something in a box to be like, this is how like we're gonna deal with this person. Just blah blah blah. It was like, nope, this is everybody, which is like just not even possible. It was like high school girls, boys, teachers, like everybody, like just every single person's the exact same.
Yeah, and it's like it's from a place of hate and not necessarily ignorance.
Yeah, and it wasn't funny. It was like
not funny TV show.
We like laughed, but in a like a dear God kind of laugh, like when you like laugh uncomfortably because you're like, "Phew, I don't think they should have done that one." Yeah, because it was just like, I was like, you don't need to. I also just think like those jokes potentially were just lazy, you know?
Okay, yeah.
I mean, and that was my other thing. My other thing, I thought I was like, I said before we did, I was like, they're probably gonna make a 9/11 joke.
Yeah,
and they fucking did it.
It's like 6 years later,
and
too.
I was like,
it's like not even like edgy anymore. Like it's just a kind of a dated joke by them.
It was like I was like, did you just like you just went somewhere and was like, oh, what do you think Muslim? What do you think? You know, like, and they asked some racist guy, and they were like, I'll make that joke now. Cool. It was the most low hanging fruit in the world. So. And I mean, I don't know. I remember just me being funny, but I mean, I also don't think that was a very like intensely like.
Yeah, wasn't exactly Frasier.
It wasn't a sophisticated like comedy, so
yeah,
it doesn't really surprise me too much to know. I mean, what do you know about these guys? Their seasons of Community, how were they?
It was what's the best way to say this? Like, it wasn't outright bad. It was just very conventional. It didn't feel like the same thing anymore. There was one episode that I liked a lot. But it was written by Jim Rash, who plays the dean.
Okay.
So it was written by him and then just directed by the other guys.
Okay.
So that one was funny.
Yeah, so not even written by them. Yeah, and that's what I'm getting out of these guys, at least right now, is that they're not super deep in their comedy, and they don't really dive. They just go, this is funny on face value, so we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Instead of like, this is clever and funny. So that's my first prediction. The last episode's gonna be still not clever. Not it. And then one other thing about I know going into the last episode, I know that I think these guys directed. I don't forget who directed. I saw it on Wikipedia really quick. Who directed some of them? But near the end, Fred Savage directed a bunch of the episodes in the end. And do we know, is he the Boy Meets World guy?
We didn't look up which Savage that was.
Yeah, is he the Boy Meets guy or the Wonder Years guy?
No, I think he's the wrestler who under the guise of the Macho Man. That's him.
Fred Savage. Young Fred Savage.
Fred Savage is Wonder Years.
Wonder Years? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, I have like a little bit higher hopes. Maybe he directed. I don't know who wrote it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who's been doing the writing. I mean, this show's only 18 episodes long, one season. So
yeah,
we'll see. And they got canceled, obviously. Right away, I'm like, obviously.
We'll look it up when we watch it.
And so I'm wondering, do you think they had a chance to like write a season? It was a season finale kind of thing. Was this even supposed to be the season finale? You know, or did they go 18? Oh. And they were like, we were supposed to go to 22, you know?
And they just cut him off.
Who
knows? Who
like,
knows?
Nah, Supergirl needs to be on, dude. This sucks.
There's one more plot point from the end of the last episode.
Okay.
Where they're all, you know, they figure it out. They're sending Raja back home to Pakistan, but then they find out that Raja's parents had passed away a year ago, and that's when the mom starts to feel bad for him. And she says, okay, you can stay. She like changes her mind on the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because she sees him as just like a lonely boy at this point and like someone who needs mothering and not just a terrorist.
I think that's when I started to like think maybe I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, saying maybe you're going so hard on this blatant, obvious thing so you can just one by one get all these awful white people to change their mind.
Because that was, I mean, outside of context of how horrible the rest of that show was, like that moment where like, because it would have been super kind of cheesy and easy to be like, oh, he's just like us, like we're culturally the same, like, and that's why I like understand him. But like the fact that the thing that makes her turn is like realizing that he doesn't have that like parent bond, and like her as a mother, like wanting to take care of him. That seemed like something more like kind of above this show from what I'd seen from it so far.
And it did work out a little bit because they did work her as like they really laid in the fact of how involved she tries to be with her kids.
So what I was gonna say was, so they work it out and like they're having fun and like laughing at dinner, and then they like, oh, and what's her name? Claire, the daughter, like, oh, and Claire's new boyfriend was having a good time too, and they pan over him and he's like some black guy, another just like polite brown person.
He is definitely like he's just a huge jacked, like he's the quarterback.
Yeah.
He's the quarterback, like for sure.
So like Claire
he's like the handsomest man in the world.
Claire has a black boyfriend, and then like they cut to the mom, and the mom's like rolling her eyes at him like, oh my god,
and bringing the glass of wine to her face.
Yeah, like, oh, I need another drink.
Oh man,
gotta deal with a black guy sitting at my table dating my daughter.
I stayed away from that in my predictions.
Oh, it was, yeah. So even in that, where it's just like, oh, she has like compassion for a lonely boy, she's still racist, still doesn't.
Yup.
Oh, we'll see where this goes.
We will. And let's go to where I think this is gonna go.
Okay.
Number one, I think Raja saves someone's life.
Ooh, okay.
I think he becomes the hero of this story.
Okay.
Because he fucking earns it if he does.
Mm-hmm.
All these horrible white people. I think Justin is dating that Amy girl. I think her name is Amy. It's the redheaded girl he was talking to at his locker.
Okay.
I think her name was Amy. I think a new foreign exchange student joins the mix.
Wow, they just double it up.
Yeah, because they're like, fuck it, we're done. And then I also think it's prom.
Okay, sure, that makes sense with school.
Yeah, I figured school, prom, right?
I have Raja is implicated in a terrorist scheme.
God damn
like
it.
Wrongly implicated.
I really try to do the best. I like
the best case scenario.
I thought the show, like turn it around show, win me over a little bit, and I'm like, you're like, nope, fuck this show.
He's like wrongly accused of like a terrorist plot.
All right,
they have to like bail him out of jail or something.
Yep.
I did say that Justin has a girlfriend. I didn't specify who. I just said girlfriend. They made a specific 9/11 reference in the first episode, and I think they're going to bookend that with another specific 9/11 reference in this last episode.
Jesus Christ.
I
almost think I said that too. I almost thought that was going to happen. So.
And then in another bookend, at the end of the first episode, where Claire has a black boyfriend and the mom is like rolling her eyes at that.
Do you think the mom's divorced and now has a black boyfriend herself? Huh?
No, I think.
Oh, dang. I think that would be the show ain't going there.
I think that the mom gets over her complete racism and is just like, you know what, Claire, you can date whoever you want. But then at the end of this episode, Claire has a girlfriend and her mom's rolling her eyes at that. So her mom is just completely over her racism, but still homophobic.
God, so you're saying this show's gonna go from just being racist for 18 episodes, and then it's just gonna be like, you know what we're gonna do now? Homophobic. Let's go for it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, should we see what this trash fire ends up like?
Yeah, can't wait.
What's the big deal about peace, love, and understanding? We're back.
I can't.
No? I don't understand that. That's the first thing I want to talk about since we're back from the finale is what's up with the theme song?
I think that's like a hit song. Like I feel like if you were to Google something, peace, love, understanding, like it's like a song from the 70s or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll look it up later. Because right now, I've got this dope episode write-up.
Mm-hmm.
So dope. Dope as hell.
It's coming.
That's called Raja.
You only have to scroll through 18 episodes.
I know, right? Yeah, not that hard. It's called Raja at 16. Justin notices that Raja is obsessed with Sadiqa, one of the few Muslim girls in Medora. It's from the same family who were hosting the foreign students in episode 14. When Franny hears about Raja's interest in a girl, she immediately arranges for a date, which requires the attendance of every member of the Tolchuk and Sadaqatmal families. I can't say Sadiq's last name. Justin is stung when his parents comment that even Raja has begun dating, while Justin has yet to find a girlfriend, so he asks out a neurotic girl named Donna. Meanwhile, Claire begins dating a German exchange student who lives with the Sadiqa family. I didn't realize that the German guy lived with the Sadiqa's family.
Yeah, I don't think I put that together either.
I just thought they brought him for some reason. But I guess that makes a lot more sense.
Mm-hmm.
I missed that part. So yeah, this episode in kind of like stark contrast from the first one is kind of about the differences of Raja's like home, like the way Muslims act in the
Pakistan,
East, in the Pakistan, and how kind of like a westernized family that still practices.
Right. Because Sadiqa was born in the States.
Yeah. Well, they definitely her whole family's definitely lives there. So she's not an exchange student or whatever.
Right.
And yeah, they weren't pretending that she had any accent or anything. She's just from here. She's like, I'm a Muslim, but I'm also a Western girl.
Right.
So they have like a bunch of, like the whole family goes on like dates, like back and forth in each other's households. Claire makes out with a guy that speaks German. And then the mom kind of just devises a plan and like tricks the families into going to like the cheesecake factory across town. Yeah,
instead of the one.
While Raja and Sadiqa go to a different one. So they have like 45 minutes alone.
Yeah, because their typical interactions are like through the parents and not really talking to each other directly.
And then, which is interesting because then, he's like, this is very uncommon for me. And that's where the whole, like, they're doing the cultural differences between a Western and Eastern person that practices. Because he was like, yeah, we're not married or scheduled to be married. So we're already like going crazy.
Yeah, this is already a lot for him to be talking to a girl.
And like interacting. And she like kisses him on the cheek in the restaurant right before her parents get there. And he was like, that was very nice, but I have to ask you not to do that again. Which kind of leads into Claire's at like a Barnes and Noble or something. I don't know.
Barnes and Noble?
I don't know. I don't know. She's out at a store or a restaurant. And she sees Sadiqa with
it was the same restaurant.
Oh, was it?
Quote unquote cheesecake mill. Is what
cheesecake
they called
mill. Yeah. Claire's at the cheesecake mill. Sees Sadiqa with Matthew. Holding hands.
Yeah.
Raja walks all the way to their house. And that's when every ounce of free goodwill this show had built in this episode went away. When just a pickup truck of white people drove by him and yelled, USA, USA.
They're just very patriotic that day. It was the day of the World Cup or something. Who knows?
And I was like, you guys are doing so good. Like, why did you have to put it in? Like, you don't need to do it anymore, I'm sure in the 17 episodes that have passed, you've overcome racism, and it doesn't need to be, because that wasn't even funny.
Yeah, it's just like, we get it. White people are racist.
Yeah. We know, we live here too. And then he gets there, and she's like, yeah, we're different, Well, she.
I mean, there's a little bit more than that.
There's a little bit more. Well, I mean, she essentially described like dating to him, like American dating. Where like, don't you want to like date a couple people and then you figure out what you like, and then you can kind of decide.
Yeah.
Because she was like, yeah, I want to like date you and him, or like I want to go out with both of you for a hot minute, not like. Being crazy.
Just getting to know.
It's a very reasonable statement, especially for a high schooler, know. And then he was like, "Nah."
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I was like, "Is this like, are they arranging a marriage already, and they're both like still in high school?"
I mean, maybe, right?
Yeah.
I'm not culturally adept enough to know exactly when the things get done,
or how long that takes to like set that up.
And it is possible. Like she wants to do it like that because she was raised here, and her family might be a little bit more in between.
Yeah.
But still probably traditional.
Yeah. See, I thought it was going to be some sort of like mix up, like, oh, that guy at the restaurant was like my cousin or something, or like We just hold hands for some reason.
We were crossing the street, and we hold hands when we cross the street because it's safer.
Yeah.
Yep. No, but it wasn't. It was. She was just like, nope. In the States, we date, and where you're from, where I've never lived, you guys are a lot more serious about this.
Yeah.
Like right away. So that bummed out Raja. Seemed like he didn't have a girlfriend anymore.
Yeah.
And then the only other thing was the subplot essentially, besides Claire making out with the German kid, was that Justin had like this girl who just like emotionally berated him, just made fun of him and was really mean to him.
Yeah, but she's like clearly into him.
Yeah, she like is into him, and I mean they made fun of her like because she was like unconventionally attractive, like she was.
I mean, not attractive.
She was,
like you're gonna say unconventionally attractive.
Well, that's why I stopped because that wasn't correct. She was unattractive.
She was conventionally unattractive.
She was She was conventionally unattractive. The exact opposite of what I was gonna say. And then they started dating, and it was like because he was jealous, potentially, whatever. And then obviously that didn't work out.
Yeah.
So
for obvious reasons.
All in all, I would say pretty boring episode.
Yeah, it's I mean, like you kind of give it points for like, giving a different perspective on being a Muslim, but at the same time it was just like I don't know, they like make the obvious point with it that's just like, oh, it's kind of different and she feels kind of in between. But it was just sort of like if the first episode was so like radically offensive and like just like pushing a lot of buttons, this one was just sort of like bleh.
Yeah, it was pretty. I mean, yeah, it was very. I'd like to. I'm never watching this show, but it would be interesting to see where like the fulcrum lands of where they go back. They shift away from just being awful.
Yeah,
I mean, it's possible they were just awful in episode 17.
Yeah, it's definitely possible.
I don't know. I don't necessarily get the thought that they grew a whole lot. It was just a different kind of episode, which was a novel idea of doing like that whole thing of like same religion, completely different like hemispheres.
Yeah,
how everything is different, east versus west.
Yeah, just a different perspective on it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like when we were watching that episode, I think about it. Like I had a coworker who, like was Muslim and had an arranged marriage, which like I guess I thought was interesting because like I just kind of saw him as like very like progressive and Americanized. And when like I heard he was having like an arranged marriage, I was like, oh, why didn't I guess that? All right, cool, man.
Maybe that was one thing he was just like, yeah, cool, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't sound like the worst thing ever. Like,
no, I mean that just in general, just living in America is obviously a weird thing.
Yeah,
I would say 99% of people that live here, no matter where you're from, just because you're here now.
Yeah,
kind of thing. I don't think arranged marriages are.
But I mean, it's
common.
not like it's you take kind of like all the passion or whatever out of like falling in love and getting married, but it's like you do get like it's not like they're just like setting you up with a random person. Like you like get to know this person, you like see if your values match up, and like there's like you get to like talk to each other and see if you're compatible.
Yeah, you like decide. You don't just
you
didn't sell your princess to the
exactly
to the neighboring kingdom.
Like the two families are like, all right, should we hang out? Is this gonna work out? And it's like, okay, cool.
Can we get along? Can we be civil? Is this gonna be okay?
Yeah.
Are you gonna be like? Is everyone gonna be taken care of? I don't think they'd like, especially like potentially the family of the daughter wouldn't be like, oh yeah, we'll sell him to him. He seems like a piece of shit.
Yeah, in like conventional.
I did not mean to say sell when I just said that. I was back to medieval princesses.
Yeah, in like conventional American marriages based on love and passion, like a lot of those are pretty shitty.
50% of them don't work out.
A lot of those, like if you would have asked your friends and family, they would have been like, yeah, don't marry that guy. He's terrible.
Right. Well, and it's like nowadays, like it's so divorce rate's so high, but it potentially just wasn't that high back in the day, just because of like tradition and how like bad it seemed to be
to like get divorced.
Yeah, like the stigma of that, and they were just like, no, we'll just deal with it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna like do what's right for my life.
I'm just gonna go to
this horrible marriage.
I'm gonna go to the factory, and I'm gonna come home, and my wife is gonna feed our 4 kids, and it's the 50s, and this is just fucking life.
Yeah,
that's just
we just don't have to do that.
This is what I decided to do, and now I do this until I die because this is America.
This is what it's all about. Having sips.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot about this show. It offended me, and I never really thought it was that funny.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought it was written very well.
Yeah,
or like very clever. It
both
was written
first and last are pretty bad in different ways.
Well, and obviously this last episode, which brought me to like what I thought, it was like, was this going to be a season finale, or was this going to be just an episode, and all of a sudden they weren't on the air next week?
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of seemed like they were just not on the air next week.
Yeah, because both of the plot lines about the girlfriends for both of the kids was just like started and ended in this episode.
Yeah, none of anything was carried on or whatever, and nothing seemed to like, at least the conclusions to anything weren't season ending, or like there wasn't a single anything like, what should I come back to?
Yeah.
It was like, I guess if I'm available at 7 p.m. next week and eating dinner, I'll turn it on.
These 2 kids will be playing video games, I guess.
And then at 7 o'clock next week, I turned it on and it wasn't there anymore because the CW was like, nah. 18 weeks is enough to know this sucks.
CW is just like, who let this happen? How did this slip through the cracks?
Dang
I thought this was an alien show.
You said this was going to be Third Rock from the Sun. You said we were going to have Jonathan Gordon-Levitt.
Even when I saw the picture with like the little brown kid holding the picture, there's still a part of me that was like, man, I hope this is still about aliens.
Well, right at the very first like minute of the first episode, he was like talking about aliens. He's like, oh, if you were an alien, people would like look at you because you'd have a big head and big eyes or whatever, make aliens green again. And nope, didn't work. It was a story about a kindly Pakistani boy dealing with a bunch of horrible racist white people. Television.
Yeah, I mean, the white people had it bad in this one. I'll say that. The brown people were presented as like very, very nice, very well-adjusted people.
I only want brown friends now.
You only want brown friends, and you want an arranged marriage.
I want an arranged marriage with a brown friend that I get arranged with now. Because, or I just want to move to a fictional town called Medora.
Medora, yeah, not a real place in Wisconsin.
Not a real
Rhinelander, though, because they said like, they went to the Cheesecake Factory in Rhinelander. Rhinelander's a real place.
And they did tell Milwaukee in the first episode too.
And Rhinelander has the Hodag.
What?
The Hodag. Hodag. It's like a mythical creature like the Chupacabra or Bigfoot.
Oh, this is like cryptozoology?
Yeah.
Wait, what is it?
The Hodag?
No, yeah. And what is the Hodag?
Oh, I don't know, but it's like it's out in the woods, and like I know this because I like took a cabin trip out to Rhinelander.
Is it like the Jersey Devil?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Spell it again.
Hodag. But yeah, I took a cabin trip to Rhinelander, and the whole time we were there, people were like, oh, look out for the Hodag.
Oh, dang. It looks like a big lizard, sort of, with spikes.
Okay.
And then it's got huge front saber-toothed teeth, and then also 2 huge horns on the top of its head. Red eyes, green. Is that what it looks like?
Oh yeah, that's the guy.
That's the Hodag?
I mean, I never saw him, but yeah.
You've seen the Hodag?
I've not met him.
It's funny. It's Wisconsin folklore.
Yeah.
Hodag is a fearsome critter. Its history is focused mainly around the city of Rhinelander. And wow, Joe, what the hell?
Yeah, it's a real thing, man.
It also mentioned in several Paul Bunyan stories.
Okay.
Look up the Hodag, guys.
Take a trip to Rhinelander.
Oh, there's a picture of the Hodag being captured, in quotation marks, by Eugene Shepard in 1893.
It's just like a gator or something.
It looks like a piñata. It looks like a piñata of a dog with a devil's face
okay
on it. If you can see that.
Yeah.
Sorry, listeners. If you Google Hodag,
yeah.
Hodag, it is the second picture that comes up, which is black and white.
Cool.
It's a bunch of racist white people.
Why do you assume they're racist?
because
Because that's what you learned about Wisconsin
because,
today.
Yeah, because I learned that. No, I don't know. I don't know what their affiliations are. Those white people. All I know is they hate demons, which is fine. I think that's okay.
I think that's something we can all get on board
I
with.
think you can hate demons because they come from evil places. I'm sure a good demon's gonna write in to the show. I'm a good demon. Should we predict?
Yeah,
Roll through this stuff?
because we just got them all wrong.
Yeah. Raja saves someone's life?
No,
Nope. Justin is dating that Amy girl.
wrong.
Wrong. That's a bummer to me. A new foreign exchange student joins the mix.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's
The German kid.
the German kid. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Mhm.
was a new one. And he
Mhm.
definitely was mixing in, if you know what I mean.
He was joining that mix.
Claire knows what I mean. Not your Claire, show Claire. And it's prom. There was no prom.
No.
So
I have Raja's implicated in a terrorist scheme. No.
USA. US.
Yeah, half a point.
Nope.
Justin has a girlfriend. True, because I was general enough. So
Yep.
a
Yeah,
point for
you
that.
you went general, I went specific, which bummer.
9/11 reference. No. And Claire is a lesbian, which is not true. Also,
Inconclusive.
yeah, inconclusive. Because she had a bite of cheesecake and said, "I'm over him."
And she hasn't been to college yet.
Yeah. I wish she would have had a bite of that cheesecake and be like, "I'm over him because now I'm into ladies," and I've been like, "Point."
1 point, please. I'd have been like, fair enough, Joe. You win. You always win.
I win aliens in America.
Well, I think I've said what I think about this show, and I'm sure I know what you know. But Joe, are you gonna be watching this? This critically acclaimed. No, sir.
No, I really there's a whole lot of things I'd rather do. I'll watch a documentary on the Hodag.
I'd watch that though. That sounds cool, right?
Yeah, that sounds,
I started watching a documentary before. This is more interesting than the show already. I started watching a documentary about this British person who was on the British version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire,
Okay.
and how he cheated
What?
to become to win the $1 million. It was
His wife was giving him clues. Is that
his
it?
brother. It was his brother, his wife, and him, and his whole family. All of them had been on the show.
Okay.
And then he was on it, and there was coughs and stuff,
Okay.
and they
I think I've seen something about this.
and
yeah.
they led him to win, and then
It was a thing where they would so they would read the question and the answers, and then they would Google shit on their phone or something, right?
well, yeah, his brother was outside on the phone
Yeah.
a bunch,
Uh-huh.
a couple times, and they saw him, and there's no cell phones allowed in the studio
Uh-huh.
for pretty obvious reasons, I would
Right.
say.
Uh-huh.
And so then I guess they more than once were dude, you stop it.
Uh-huh.
And then I think after a couple times he stopped it, but then there's 21 different microphones all around the studio
Uh-huh.
to pick up everything, including crowd noise.
Yeah.
And there would be for $1 million is blah 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 blah, and they'd be
Yeah. Because
like-
the guy would, so they would read the question and the answers, and then the guy would be like, "Oh, this one's tough. Could it be A?" And wait for a second. And
Yeah.
Could it be B? And then he'd hear a cough, and he's like, "All right, B, final answer."
yeah, he'd do something like that, which is funny though, because I feel especially in that kind of show, they're hey, if you don't know the answer,
Mhm.
we want you to talk it out.
Yeah. Uh huh.
Because we don't want you to sit there and go,
Sit there in silence and think about it.
let me think about it silently. So
Mhm.
he is doing the things where it sounds like he's just being another guy on the show.
Yeah.
Just him, but then they isolated the stuff and weird stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then you went to court and blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of let him keep it. That was brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, if you found a way to work it, right?
I'm sure there's a rule, the no cheating rule, but it's a cool thing. Cool. All right. Well, Joe, how can people hit us up if they want us to, watch the show again on
Make
another
us
episode?
Make us your phone a friend when you're on Millionaire, and we'll know the answers.
But if they needed to ask us a question on the phone,
Uh-huh.
how would they do that?
Take your phone, put it in front of you instead of by your ear, and then type in, just open up an email and send it to you first. Oh, send it to F and L podcast
There you go.
at gmail.com.
Nailed it. I haven't asked you that question very recently. I don't
Yeah.
feel like, so you forgot. Yeah, we're at FNL Podcast on all the things, the Twitters, the Facebooks, the emails.
Mm-hmm.
So, hit us up. Tell us what you think about this show. Apparently it's all on YouTube.
Claire said there's a new Netflix show called First and Last.
Yeah, fuck them. I saw this. I'm mad about this.
Yeah.
I watched the first episode. I'll be honest. It's not good. Don't watch it.
Okay. Well, maybe we could watch the last episode sometime.
Yeah, maybe. It's about people's first and last days in prison.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that could be interesting.
That does sound interesting, yeah.
Yeah, it's not though. The only thing that's titled first and last that is interesting is this podcast. And we thank you for your patronage.
Cool.
All right. Well, with that, we are going to head out. Is there potential that some other people will be here next week? Maybe Jimmy, maybe Claire,
Who knows?
maybe me, maybe Joe.
But if you, the fans, decide that you just want the Josh and Joe show, please text Claire.
You were very, yeah. We're definitely up to the suggestions of only doing me and Joe. We've had a great time tonight. We'll watch better shows in the future with it's just us. This is just such a Joe show right now.
Oh, jeez.
It had so many connections to community. We had to do it. We had to.
And Wisconsin. I love Wisconsin.
Yeah, I bet. Cool. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. I was going to say watching. This is an audio podcast. We will see you next week on First and Last.
Peace.
What's the big deal about friends and something and understanding? Is that the theme song?
Yep.